That's a bop.
That was
That's gold.
Are you singing along to it, Jamie? There's no lyrics.
Dancing to it.
We can make lyrics. But yeah, that was good to see everyone in the chat. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I don't know how long it's been, but since Bad Batch.
Since like the beginning of August? Second week in August?
That's so far away.
Month and a half.
A month and a half ago. Feels longer.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
Anywho.
It was like a ritual for a hot minute.
Welcome back to Holiday Marauders Live, HML.
Woo. Let's go.
We're back.
Let's go.
I forgot my stupid fish again.
What are we gathered here today for?
We're gathered here today for this. Visions.
We had a
Star Wars Visions. I put in a few graphics.
Wow. That fits.
So Star Wars Visions dropped on Wednesday. So it's the mini anthology series of anime shorts from few different anime studios, and they're all standalone, and they were all incredible in their own way. And so we're gonna do a
Holonet Marauders
full-ish breakdown.
The one and only, as far as we know. This is we'll give our reviews and whatnot, but this is the quick consensus among all of us.
Oh my god!
I watched them in VR, so that's accurate for sure.
Oh, did you?
Oh my god!
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Something called Big Screen. It like makes it a virtual movie theater. Very handy during the pandemic.
Our friend Ryan was showing us that.
You gonna roll that one again, AJ?
I'll roll it again. You guys
roll it again.
Credits rolling for Visions.
That's me just lost in a Jedi temple in VR.
Yeah.
That's great. That was
Matt Miles. Hey Brent, how's it going, guys?
I'm jelly. I'm gotta try that.
Yeah, total sidebar. Yeah, we got to do some VR there last weekend with friends, and we all experienced it quite differently. I screamed bloody murder at like, the Drankier like running towards me. Matt was like in awe of just everything, and AJ slicing and dicing like a pro. I
was patting Yoda's.
We all pet Yoda. Yeah,
we all had a pet Yoda.
I wish I had that picture, but
I want a pet Yoda.
Next time. But Visions.
Does anyone have like an opening, like this is what I thought of Visions, but we're gonna go episode by episode, but was there anything that you want to just get off your chest like immediately about Visions?
Did anyone hear the one about the kyber crystals? I feel like every episode in some way, shape, or form, not every episode, I think the last two there was less of it. There was a lot of focus on kyber crystals throughout the whole thing.
That started off as like that sounded off like you were trying to say a joke.
It did.
Yeah, me too.
Did you hear the one about the kyber crystals?
It didn't land, so I was trying to segue. Matt,
no, that was good. I liked it. Was good. But I thought it was
that's the thing. We don't have an audience to have a laugh track.
We do. Did you ever hear the one about the kyber crystals? They were in his jacket.
No, but you're right. They all have to do with like kyber crystals. Kyber crystals and lightsabers were like the most important thing. It's funny because you look at like how other cultures look at Star Wars. And obviously Visions is a big look into how, the Japanese culture looks at Star Wars. And every single one put like an emphasis on the lightsabers, an emphasis on like the kyber crystals and the lightsabers as like these incredibly important sacred things that are like passed down through generations, or, nobody's seen one in a while. And they're like these amazing, incredible things, which is funny because we don't really do that here. But I know there is a certain reverence for, the weapon as it is in Japanese culture.
Huge
that is
symbolism
just
for it. It's just huge symbolism for it. In watching all of the extras as well, I've seen almost all of the extras, but definitely take the time. So not just watch the episodes, but tab over 2 spots and watch all of the extras, because there's a behind the scenes. Hey, Dylan. There's a behind the scenes of every single episode and the full what went into the production for it. And pretty much every single director in every studio, they are all like, I grew up with Star Wars. It was like the first sci-fi movie I ever saw. And it just runs deep, and it goes back to everyone else's like Star Wars story. It seems is you grew up with it as a child, and then you get to actually like make something for it. And they all also pretty much talk about how they know that Star Wars was lovingly ripped from the Kurosawa like aesthetic, and they're like, well, we want to give back, and we want to lovingly like rip it back for you, but in like a really good way. If that like makes sense.
It feels no. I completely agree, Jamie. To me, it feels like Visions is if Star Wars is taking Kurosawa and throwing it into Google Translate and making it into English, Visions is then taking that, and then when you flip it and then you put it back into Japanese just to see what it says.
I like it. That's funny.
But a more
really
elegant way than what you usually
get. Because there's just so much care and so much heart that they put into all of this. And you can like tell, like even like just watching the shorts, but when you watch the behind the scenes as well, you just see how special it was for all these creators to get that chance to tell their own Star Wars stories and really go the extra mile with it. And they've gone above and beyond. And I want so much more from them, because it was so cool to have these like standalone stories that like have like no stakes, but they have so many stakes. Like I have like so many like new like favorite characters now at this point, and like half of them are droids, which like is nothing new for me, but like I love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. My initial reaction to all of them, other than holy crap, which was Matt playing VR, it was so refreshing. Crap. Like I love Star Wars. It's my favorite thing, out there. But it was so refreshing to get these creators' points of view, and it's funny because like I know I can speak for Matt and I guess, but we're huge canon junkies, and I don't give a crap that they're not canon. Like the fact that they're not, I guess, it gives the creators so much more creativity and just like an endless playground to play with, I guess.
That's what they did.
It made for the best product, I think. So
definitely, and it's like I forget who said it exactly, but they said that they were hoping that Visions was going to influence the next generation of like canon stories. So even if these stories aren't canon, they can influence the a canon story down the line at some point. Definitely. Which I love. I think that's perfect. That's like a perfect way to kind of do it, right? I mean, that's kind of what Legends is nowadays too. Like not canon, but influencing canon stories and
inspiration.
We see inspiring new stories to be told in a similar vein or with similar characters.
Matt doesn't know what you're referring to about that.
I don't think.
So the other day, this week, AJ was streaming just like the regular games on Twitch, and I noticed through the stream that the lampshade was like crooked in the background, and so I ran downstairs and I tried to fix the lampshade. So we were playing VR last weekend, and I did say we had a fun time like the weekend before, so that's why the lampshade was like dirt. And then I tried to fix
20% chance it was Matt.
Yeah,
I've broken a TV that way.
We'll leave it ambiguous. We'll leave it ambiguous.
You can do that. So I guess let's jump into actual, breaking down the series, the different episodes. And so not breaking down, but just talking about like our favorite bits and whatnot of each one. So we're going to start with episode 1, The Duel, which was like
the Duel was
episodes.
I was saying to some of you guys, this whole thing, it was 9 episodes, right? Which is about the size of like an album for music. So the thing was like a music album, like, off the bat, you have your catchy right into the whatever music it is, exciting song. And
then
the
like feel for it, like
around
perfectly.
3, 4, 5, you get your like, your hit that's gonna be on the radio and whatnot. And at the end, you have ones that are like fan favorites, but maybe not for everyone. The lesser known songs or something. But I mean, The Duel was that was the biggest advertised one, I feel, biggest marketed one. It's getting its own book.
We're talking about the novel too. So
like, it was great off the bat. I love the way it looked with that grainy footage.
You want to talk about Akira Kurosawa? I mean,
there you go.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, that's about as Google translates perfectly from Star Wars to Visions as you can possibly get.
Which is what the creators said as well, though. Like but that's exactly like what the creators like said about it. They were like, "Oh, well, we know that the Star Wars movies were Kurosawa like inspired, and so we want to give that back." And like, there's so many just like little references within The Duel alone. One of my like favorite bits, and I have to pull up my notes for this because when I was watching it, I thought this was amazing. So this was from the studio Kamikaze Douya. And one of the creators was talking about when he was creating the character designs for it, he literally took his action figures and he like kit bashed them together to try to figure out like what he wanted them to be. Like we have this like one character that's a probe droid operated by a Doug, which like
perfect.
Like that's so cool. And so you have like all these different characters that we have a creator who is obsessed with Star Wars, and then he gets to like make something that like is actual Star Wars is just like very, very cool. And like you see the love that they're pouring into it.
Seeing that probe droid just flailing about with katanas was just like amazing. I hit my own lampshade.
Now you're flailing around.
Here you go.
Yeah, and the droids. I mean, let's talk about the droids real quick. I mean, that astromech with the hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Straw hat.
I can't remember his name. And the
R5, B5 I think
B5
is that astromech, if I remember correctly.
That's
Yeah,
a good
B5 and the gonk with the stovetop and the tea kettle.
That was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
That
He
gonk
He could run very
all
fast.
in afterwards.
Yeah.
Like I love.
You know,
that.
he
Like,
works hard.
Yeah.
works very hard. Works very hard to keep for his keep there. Oh my gosh. Another okay. So like to like look back on it, like this episode though. So like I love towards the end the very very obvious Mustafar vibes with the fight between the Sith
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
our
I mean,
Jedi who's not a Jedi. But yeah,
I got
go for
very
it.
Duel of the Fates vibes. The
Yeah.
soundtrack is incredibly Duel of the Fates.
It was.
It was supposed to be.
You know, and this kind of goes to a pattern that I noticed with each of the stories. Each story seems to be taking inspiration from one specific era in Star Wars. And
Except
each
for one.
one, except for what?
Except for one.
Really?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
right,
I'll
we'll talk
bring it
about
up when it's relevant.
But this one specifically took inspiration from the prequel era, without a doubt. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
you know, flashy samurai duels. The music sounds similar.
Yeah, definitely in terms of like what we're seeing. I'm sorry, I jumped for a second because like all the raiders, the Marauder samurai, they had like clone, they had stormtrooper, they had first order TK bits, and they were all designed as like samurai. And just I think someone mentioned in the chat, I was like, oh my god, I love those designs. Like some were masks, some were like the sideburn kind of deals.
Well, yeah, it goes back to this creator literally took his action figures and just like pushed stuff together, and he's like, all right, let me see what this looks like. And he took that and then like classic inspirations as well, and it just was executed so well. And I love as well to toss in another prequel reference. And so the entire waterfall scene, think about it for a second there, guys. You see a lightsaber at the other end of the waterfall, and then the waterfall, and the Sith lady is swiping at the waterfall. Guess who does that in episode 1 with our favorite man? It's Darth Maul and Qui-Gon.
Darth Maul slashes at the
Darth Maul
force field.
slashing like the
red
force
wall.
field.
Oh, the force field. Okay,
Yeah. While Qui-Gon is just like hiding and like not hiding, but just like waiting, which is like what Ronan was doing in this thing. And so like when you watch the extras, the guy talks about how that's pretty much like that scene exactly, but they just retranslated it, and it's just so cool and just incredible to like see like it's weird saying it's one thing to be like inspired by it, and then it's another thing to lovingly rip it and retranslate it, and that's what this was. But it was like so good.
Yeah, and I mean, like the lightsabers. We'll talk about this again and again because there's so many ways that they played with the concept of a lightsaber. But in this one, especially, I loved how the Sith lady had like a refractor attachment that was able to like turn it into the umbrella there, and how the Jedi like Ronin. His lightsaber, his hilt, but also his sheath, are able to emit the blade. That's so cool.
That was interesting. I love that.
Yeah,
and yeah, the colors of the lightsabers in each episode, really they stuck out a lot compared to the rest of the environment. So that was definitely a cool thing.
The design of them was it's loose. It's loose. So I'm trying to make sure it doesn't knock into things.
I didn't notice the Samuel Kim score yet.
Yeah, so I retweeted that. So
Okay.
Samuel Kim, you guys are probably familiar with he does like a lot of like instrumental covers of pretty much like a ton of Star Wars music, Marvel music, and a lot of anything that's like new, and his music is incredible. And he's casually tweeted a lot recently being like, hey, I would love to officially like make Star Wars music one day, and I hope he gets to.
I think he'll get it.
He's
I think he
so
will.
talented. But he released a cover of the Village Bride score, which I guess we'll talk about like later. And I just hope that they like release the score in general, because each of these episodes they have gone through such like big budget like orchestra, like full scale. It's out there, and like it's just, I just want to listen to it.
Honestly.
And to go with Dylan here, I mean, this is been my big thing. It's melding the two fandoms. I guess you can be a fan of each, but I'm not big into anime. But this probably will make me look a bit more into it. And I hope it does the same for non-Star Wars fans that would want to watch this and be like, "Oh man, I'll check out Star Wars." This small thing called Star Wars, right? But
with a lot of them, they each like kind of remind me of a certain style of anime that I like, and like not only in terms of like the story beats, but also in terms of like the animation style. and it's really cool to see.
Ooh, I love
This
those.
and this animation style was so cool because it felt like a blend of CG in terms of like all the 3D models, because you can definitely see it once he's like trying to hold the lightsaber blade.
Yes.
That's such a cool
That
scene.
was
That was
sick.
like
I love
Luke
that.
grabbing the blade in the concept art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that in episode 9 either way, because
Right.
Kylo
'cause
Ren, they both stop
they
the
block
Mhm.
it.
they stop the
you're
blade,
right.
the
You're totally
lightsaber
right.
blades
Yeah.
with the Force.
Yeah. And in fact, no, they were. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of episode 3 with Anakin and Obi-Wan like
Pushing
both
each other,
at each other.
flying back.
But yeah, like just the hatching lines just kind of always staying in one place while they're moving, and like the way it would shift across their faces and stuff was just I could watch that all day. It was so
Yeah.
good. It was like a manga coming to life.
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
exactly like what it was. I loved it. Wow.
Tatooine Rhapsody. Before we
So-
hang on this one too long,
Next episode, yeah, we
That's
will.
fair.
So
Yeah, we do gotta
next
we gotta move.
episode, our other favorite, Tatooine Rhapsody.
ooh, yeah,
That's so cute.
So like
much
you guys
fun.
know this, that going into it, Tatooine Rhapsody was my most anticipated one because a rock band in the middle of Star Wars. Yes, please sign me up. That is like
I
my
mean,
favorite concept,
yeah.
like in the galaxy.
Yeah.
that's
And
just a clever
and they
concept in
delivered.
general. The
Yeah.
band format for Star Wars. Every single Star Wars movie or like property is about a group of people getting together and doing stuff. Like, why not make it a band at some
Mhm.
point?
Yeah.
And
The
I
chibi art
think
style was so cute, and just
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't
It
get
was,
enough of it.
Mini Boba.
Yeah, Mini Boba is so good.
It
we
was-
love
it was
this
just
one. We love
super
this one
easy
so
to
much because
consume.
like
Yeah,
if the 3 or 4 of us were here, if the Marauders were to come up with like some Star Wars story or like 5 Star Wars stories,
We
this
would
would be
come up
one of
with-
them. Like a
Yeah,
rock
a
band
rock
of
band.
sorts.
Oh, yeah.
for
with
sure.
the former Jedi as the lead singer, like that's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
That was a really fun twist, and it's
That
right
was.
off the bat. It's just because we knew
Microphone
going into it
lightsaber.
was going to be a band, and then like they're like right off the bat, it's like, oh, how did this get
Wreck
started?
punk.
He was a Jedi, and it's like, oh, that's great, that's fantastic, and I loved it. But
He just saw all
yeah,
his friends die in the temple burning, but now he wants to rock his little heart out with a hut.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bobby Moynihan start a band. What's not to love in the English
That's
version,
true.
at least.
That's true.
Shelby knows about your
Yeah,
your
I
DJ, right?
explained at great length to Shelby about my Star Wars DJ, but yeah,
And everyone on here, right?
I'm sure everyone's heard
DJ.
about that by
Gee's,
now.
Gee's glasses threw me off at first because I couldn't like figure out that they were glasses, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Is those his eyes? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening?
I know.
Um,
That was a
but I
a
love
funny
like
character
their
design.
original partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I it's just so funny how like this was the only one that they really had like canon characters per se, because like they had Boba and Jabba, of course,
Jabba.
and Bib Fortuna.
Bib
and, like,
Fortuna,
Yep.
thank you.
They really didn't do like much because like they can't do a lot, but like there they were.
One of
Bib
the funniest
Fortuna's
moments-
face. If you look at him in any frame, he's just like
Yeah, that's what he always looks
just
like.
in the background, just the whole time. Doesn't
Yeah,
move.
He's having a blast. He's having
Good
fun.
style.
You know what
One
it
of the
is,
funniest
man.
moments I recall when Jamie and I were watching was we're like, oh man, I'm imagine like the modal nodes watching this all upset, and then it showed them. We were like, there they are. They
Yeah,
look so
they're just
sad.
like,
So good.
We can't do
Oh,
that.
they're like, there goes the next superstar, and they're just
Don't
like,
worry.
"Eh."
They're gonna be rocking everybody's socks off in like 20 years time.
Oh yeah, of course.
I guess you're too young for that. But your kids
Yeah.
are gonna love
I
it.
guess you guys aren't ready for that yet.
Yes.
But really
Perfect.
though,
The Mononotes for sure.
but yeah, I love how it was a rock band though, and Star Waver needs a full album like as soon as possible, and like they just wanted to make music, and it was
Yeah.
pretty much like in the behind the scenes of like this one, which was my other like favorite one about it, was the creators are just like, it's a story of like you do what you want to do and don't get caught up in the past, and it's a story about music at its core, and which is why it was so different than all of the other ones, and that's why they like made it in the first place, because they're like, well, we just want to make a story about music and make it different than anything else we've seen in Star Wars. And that's why Visions is so cool, because you have this opportunity to have these stories told, which are just about a rock band on Tatooine.
Yeah.
For sure.
One question
is-
I have though that I felt was unanswered is because I felt like there was something that they wanted to do with his lightsaber. I don't know if it came up in the back behind the scenes, but like he tries to use it against Boba, it totally sparks, and I feel
Yeah.
like there's no third act of what he should do with it. And like I
Turned
know
it
he's
into a
like, hey,
microphone.
it's a microphone,
Yeah, it
but
was
it
the mic.
was a microphone. There's like an attachment he takes off because he didn't have it when he tried to fight Boba.
Right.
So I
Yeah,
was just
so
left
I-
confused
There's an
about what that was
attachment.
meant to end
Who
with,
puts
like
on
that
the
art
lightsaber?
part of the arc.
I
didn't even
believe in the
notice that.
extras they were talking about how again, it's a story of pretty much like letting go of everything in the past and just moving forward. And so like
Yeah.
that's kind of like what it was. Is he was still holding on to being a Jedi and not just like, oh, well, I'm gonna move ahead and do something different. So
That's why it's just a lightsaber, because like he's totally over it, trying to be a
Right.
weapon.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
kind of what I was feeling, but it was just like, I don't know about this. Yeah. It was good,
And it was
though.
cute. It was cute and it was silly and it was fun. It was everything Star Wars should be. And I was very not pleasantly. I was very disappointed seeing so much negativity towards Tatooine Rhapsody
Pleasantly
on the internet
disappointed.
I didn't see
after
any.
I saw
I didn't
it.
see any. I thought
see
everybody
any.
had a blast.
Yeah.
I ignored
As they
most
should.
negativity.
I
so
ignored
guess
it.
I didn't see much.
I
I
didn't see
saw
much.
negativity though, and I'm just like, yeah, let's not. It
How
was
can
a
you
lot
be
of fun. It
negative
was
about that?
silly,
I mean,
and
it's
it was
just
everything
fun.
that it should be.
Yeah.
So
Well, given the Star Wars
Evil.
music that we've heard before, I felt that it was a little like Earth, like terrestrial, the
Well,
music
yeah.
and style of it, which is like not a big deal. It was a cute song and has a nice message to it. So like, and like, it's not the important part of the message of the story. It's about, you know, like what they're doing to be able to try and be
Yeah.
able to play that song on such a cool stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think like that's like the only thing I can think of, because otherwise I had a great time. It was a fun, cute story, and
Hey, sometimes people don't like cute things, I guess. But oh
I don't
well.
know, man.
everything has to
Well,
be like
anyway.
the duel.
Exactly. Yeah. But
it's too intense. Let's move
what
on
was
to the next
what was
one.
the next one?
Yes.
The twins was our next one.
Twins.
The twins.
Speaking of
Remember-
intense,
Yeah.
intense.
And remember when I said that each one was influenced by a certain era of Star Wars? You could
Yep.
110% tell that they were totally influenced by the sequels for this one.
Yeah.
I mean, just from like everything from
Yeah.
the twins' birth to, you know,
Sith alchemy.
Sith,
My
Sith
favorite.
alchemy, and
Yeah.
to the lightsaber slashing through the ship. I know it wasn't the same thing as a hyperspace ram, but it looked
the
the
same
same.
The
look.
visual was very
Yeah.
The
similar.
visual
Yeah.
is the same. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I like this one. I know a lot of people. The consensus I've seen for this one online has been that a lot of people were like super hyped about it to start off. Like people heard about the twins, were excited to see the twins mostly, but then like it didn't exactly deliver everything that they wanted, or it was just like good but not great.
That's sort of where I
Um,
fell. Yeah.
And I remember kind of feeling that way early on too. Like I remember seeing stuff for the twins and being like, "Ooh, the twins!" I'm like super interested in that. And then when it came out, I was like, "Oh yeah, that was good." But yeah, I just think it's a blast now. I mean,
It really is.
yeah,
And visually, it's literally a blast. It's probably the
Holy
most
crap.
like shouting blast of an, I don't know, compared to the other
Shouting
ones.
blast.
The other ones are intense,
Shouting
but this one was
blast,
like
yeah.
literally like, I don't know, the
It
way
was
it-
very,
the way it's
very, very
animated.
bright. It was,
It was
one of the most colorful and one of the
If
most.
anybody
like,
knows
bright.
any of the content that the studio makes regularly, that's pretty par for the course for them.
Really? Okay.
Apparently,
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's like
Huh.
they literally just took their style and slapped it onto Star Wars.
That's fine. That's what they were
I did
supposed
love,
to do.
I love the
it's what
visuals.
they're
Yeah,
supposed to
100%.
do.
It
So
was like a DBZ episode without the padding, you know, like it was just all action all the time. It was great.
I love the final shot when he's sitting with his X-wing, like
That was
on
sick.
Tatooine,
I
love
like,
that.
watching
Yeah.
the sunset. That's great.
So good. I
There's
love
a-
so talk about the droids really quick. Throw the droids in there. So we have the duo of droids. One of them literally being
Trigger.
named our duo.
Our duo.
Our duo.
Our duo.
It's our duo. Love our duo. But yeah, they're definitely just 3PO and R2, just retranslated again. And I love how they're we need more backstory for the twins. We got all of the backstory for the twins. The sister
know. We
literally
got
spells out their
some of
entire
it.
backstory.
Literally, like the entirety
Yeah.
of it.
But like a lead up, I don't know. I get what Chad means.
Of
there,
like
but
I
we
guess
talked
like
about
what
that.
like pushed like the brother to like, get out of there.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've
Change your
all been better on a rewatch for me, because I always try to rewatch it again just to be able to like catch any of the details and stuff. And
Mhm.
like I found myself really enjoying it on the second time around, because I wasn't like strapped in like while things are just flying past me. I was able to like really hone in on the details and like see the like the beats of the action in a new light, and it was really cool. I mean, like we got a Grievous style crazy lady with how many did she have?
I think she had
With the
like
Kyber armor,
six,
yeah.
six or
6
eight,
or 8?
something like that.
6.
I'm not sure.
I think she
but
was
it was
Doc Ock style.
Doc Ock
absolutely
style, yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
because
Which
it
doesn't
wasn't
make
it
sense,
wasn't
'cause
just
Octopus has
Grievous.
8
It was like
arms.
I know. Well, he's got his legs.
a
Oh,
lot,
yeah,
a lot
you're
of
right.
just
Squidward doing the dance. What do you guys think of the Kyber armor? I thought that was,
I thought
a
it was
sweet
really
concept.
cool.
Yeah.
That was
Really
really cool. Yeah.
concept. Again, lovingly ripped from the sequels because they fractured the crystal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just
and
kinda,
it breaks
like, take it.
apart.
use it for their own benefit. One detail, my favorite detail, is that they could all breathe in space except for the droids.
Yeah.
The droids couldn't breathe in space.
So that was where they lost me, because like I was having a great time the whole way through. Yes, like I can suspend a lot of disbelief, but it's when you then 180 on your rules that I'm like, wait a second, because you go to all the trouble of not caring about the twins being able to breathe. And then you have a droid who's got a freaking air bubble. Yeah, and I just laughed at it. I'm not really mad at it.
No, it was hilarious. It was.
But
awesome.
there was, I unfortunately like really eat up like those YouTube like trivia and like Easter egg videos. And one of them was like, oh, if anyone's wondering why they have an air bubble, why the droid had an air bubble, it's so that he could talk. I'm like, they were talking the whole time. This explains nothing.
Is it bad that like when we were watching this, I wasn't even thinking of the fact that they were floating in space and like just breathing? I didn't even think of it until you guys brought it up.
I
was
like, it's Jimmy Neutron syndrome, dude. Like
Jimmy Neutron.
That's what I said. It's Jimmy Neutron syndrome. You don't.
Oh my god.
They go to space. They can breathe. Don't ask questions. Just go along with it.
There's a lot being, a lot of suspension of disbelief happening, but that was like, hold on, which is it?
Yeah, right.
I love how their joint cruiser was called a Gemini cruiser, which obviously Gemini is literally the twins, which is like, I love how that's the name of it though. Like that's just hit the nail on the head. You're gonna call it Gemini.
And this is supposed to take really place after episode 9, but the Gemini class seems wildly inefficient compared to literally putting the Death Star lasers on each one. Now they need 2, and they need them to connect in the middle.
New concept.
Yeah,
new concept. They share this power and this big kyber crystals. I don't
prototype
know.
that they gave them or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go ahead.
You don't need aerodynamics in space,
No, you're right.
It's a big old thing.
It's a big old thing.
Well, the last like little detail I want to just touch on really quickly though is I love when the brother, I'm so sorry I can't remember their names, but everything was just flying everywhere. I love when the brother, when his lightsaber like ignited, it was like rainbow shades. Like it was like every single color. Couldn't decide on a color. It was just all of them. And I was like, this is just perfect. It was just so cool to see that.
I loved his Han outfit. It was very good.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so up next, episode 4, The Village Bride, in which they dropped this poster today. And I am
so cute.
in love
I haven't
with
seen
this.
That's incredible. That's the first time I'm seeing that too. That's the
first time they've dropped. This was my favorite short out of all of them, or episode. I keep calling them shorts, but this was my favorite episode for so many reasons. But I'll let you guys go first.
That poster's like fried my brain. I don't even know what I was. Oh, that's so good.
This reinforces what I was going to say, is that I got heavy Princess Mononoke vibes the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was loving every second, especially the battle droids. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why
he comes back as a battle droid.
One of the reasons.
You can't sleep on that.
One of them. It was so funny just hearing their voices like in this anime short, because like it obviously has so much cool inspiration from Star Wars, but it's taking it in so many interesting directions. Like I love the professor. I'm going to call him like the guy with the bucket helmet, jetpack,
the welder.
Helmet
it's better than what I've been calling him. I've just been calling him helmet dude or bucket helmet.
I think he was subtitled as the Explorer, if I remember correctly.
The Explorer. That's good. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I love how his helmet was like on like a crane from his back, and it was just and then
that was cool.
Do you think he ever worries about that malfunctioning, given how he used it at the end?
I would say no. I would assume that he has some sort of like special function to use. Like think like High Republic, like Marchion Road, like rigging his helmet to explode and like pan in his hands. So like, sorry if that spoiled that for somebody.
I think is that Rising Storm? It's my fault.
I don't remember which one it was.
No,
it doesn't kill anyone.
I'm about the journey, not the destination. That's fine.
It stings a little.
But like, yeah, I think that as a seasoned helmet wearer, they probably know the ins and outs of it at that point in their life.
Yeah,
I agree, Brent.
I really
did have a slow build, but
I really love that character specifically because I love the idea of creating like an occupation or like a connection with Jedi who need to be really relocated after Order 66. It's like, oh yeah, I'll find you a place to live, or like here, check this place out. I just like that like idea, and they haven't really done that yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you mentioned that the other night when we were chatting on Convor Call, and I was like, that idea just really like stuck on me, and I like wrote it down on like a sticky note and everything, and I can't find it now. So I'm glad you just mentioned it again.
Yeah, I think Buckethead Professor Man, that's like a really cool concept.
What an intriguing career path.
Yeah, but then he stays
That's-
behind, and he's like, "I'll live here from now
I'll
on."
just chill here.
Yeah.
Because
Why don't we
this
just
seems
chill?
pretty chill. This is a like nice place.
At first, I
Yeah.
was like trying to figure out like, okay, like is he friends with her? And then like the subtitles thankfully helped me because it said groom. And I'm like, oh, okay. But
Carrying her
boy,
on his back.
the
so that she
calves
doesn't
on
get her
that
feet
guy. My
wet.
goodness.
You didn't. You thought that was just a friend thing?
No,
Oh, yeah.
like no. I assumed it would be as like a village tradition thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of some sort, because that's the vibe I was getting at first. But in any case, I loved the balance that you have in terms of light and dark in terms of the two sisters.
And literally,
Oh yeah,
the balance of carrying a human on your back. Very
Yeah.
Kronk.
There was a lot.
you don't want to fall
was
on
a
that
lot.
path.
Well, yeah. So in the whole like behind the scenes of like this one is the overall theme was very obviously nature and just like the balance in general, and just this they really just went on the whole balance of the force and with all of that. And so they mention how the couple is also like force sensitive in their own way. They're not Jedi and like force users per se, but they are force sensitive, in which they know like the power like within like the planet and like can connect with it that way, which is like why they make the journey to the top of the mountain. And when they get there and they're at like what was it called, at the Magina, and they're like, oh, Magina
That's
awake.
it. Thank you.
And everything
Yeah.
just kind of like pulses. It's because like they have like that deeper understanding with the force. And so it goes back to that is just like a huge piece of like Japanese culture in general of just connecting with the planet and connecting with just like the natural world around you, which is the basis of the force as well. And I just love that.
Yeah. I mean,
The two that sorry,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
no, you.
Damn, you always get me. I just wanted to say that the two of them reminded me of the dyad that we saw in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
even
bit.
in
Yeah.
that poster too, it looks like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, of the Jedi and the bride, which is a really good point.
Yeah.
I
I
love
love the
the
Jedi.
story. Oh my gosh,
we haven't
the
even talked
Jedi.
about her.
We
With her
haven't-
She was
yellow katana lightsaber and her mask with the
And
scar.
rocket heels.
the mask.
Rocket
was awesome.
heels.
Rocket heels.
Oh
Wow.
my god!
Guys. Hey. Oh
And-
wow.
I
It was a
know.
really epic interpretation of like
AJ. Talked earlier about how these aren't canon, but no, you're right there, Jiggy. Oh, okay. But he was, he talked about how this doesn't matter for like canon or whatever, and that's fine, that's good. But I
Yeah.
could see this story blending perfectly into canon. It literally
Oh, yeah.
doesn't like contradict anything or anything like that. Like, so you could take this story as having happened.
Yeah,
just
they're
all the same.
handful of these episodes you could easily just like slip in and continue the stories. Like
Yeah.
even like this one, you can make an anthology like alone from this of someone helping Jedi, and it's a different Jedi like each time, or it could be like that person's like path the entire time. And it's just so good. I gotta AJ go back in the comments really quick. I think that Brent mentioned it, but Christopher Sean was one of the English voices, so he was the husband in this one, and it was funny because literally he's the voice of Kaz in Star Wars Resistance, and I noticed it was
that's who it
him
was.
when it was a little flashback of him as a child. I was like, oh, that's Christopher Sean. It was that's the guy who's Kaz, and then I didn't.
You know why
But
we
two
didn't
and two
recognize
together.
him? Because he didn't hit his head.
Because he didn't go, oh,
But
and hit his head.
he's great though. And like it was,
No,
it
I
was
love
great
him.
that
He is
they-
great.
they're plucking like everyone like over. So
Yeah.
yeah.
$20.
I'll take you up. I'll take you
take-
up on that.
Oh no.
I'll take the bet,
So-
Hannah.
What I was going to illustrate here was that my lightsaber unfortunately is dead, so I can't now.
That's what you're going to
No.
illustrate.
I was going to illustrate that the ignition sequence when the Jedi turns on her lightsaber, not only is it yellow, but she flicks it sideways and it makes the exact same noise as Rey's yellow lightsaber. And
It is
I
the
was
same noise,
literally
yeah.
just
Damn.
sitting there like,
That would have been really nice if that lightsaber worked.
oh my
They
gosh.
use that noise a few times, right?
They
But-
do pretty much like every ignition sequence. But no,
Yeah.
in the Ninth Jedi they use that when she turns the lightsaber on for the first time.
Right.
I'll try to make it with my mouth. There
That was
you go.
pretty good.
Thank
That
you.
was
That's pretty good.
Thank you. That's what it sounds like basically. So there you go. Guys.
I got a huge.
Helping
I've been
out.
playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima, and there's just this huge emphasis on like guerrilla warfare versus the proper samurai duel, and seeing that retranslated into not only am I going to quick draw my lightsaber katana, but I'm going to rocket heal my way past too, because like it's
And then
always so
slice through
exaggerated
him.
when they're just like or like the thing,
Yeah.
So
and,
good.
like it's cut. But this is like okay. that actually works. Oh man.
It was great
I
too because they
loved
had
it.
that classic like profile shot of like her standing there like with like, and then him just kind of like falling down, like the classic samurai shot of somebody getting slashed in half, which happens a lot. Happens a lot in Visions and in the samurai movies too.
Oh gosh. I also have to just do like the call out as well. So the composer for the music for The Village Bride was Kevin Penkin, and everything that this piece was honestly one of my favorites because of the music. Like this was so comfortably within the Star Wars universe, but so uniquely its own. Everything from the instrumentals too, you have such like the broad sweeping vocal sections as well, like within this, and it was just so good. If you're gonna watch any of these, if you're watching this for some reason and you haven't watched any of Visions, watch The Village Bride first because it's just so good.
And then watch my favorite.
Drum roll,
please.
The next one. So episode 5, The Ninth Jedi.
The Ninth Jedi.
Ninth
That's
Jedi.
my favorite too.
They should have kept
And
it
this
as
is-
episode 9, but they didn't, and they made it 5 for some reason. But it's the Ninth Jedi.
It was funny because
That's a
like going
budget
into
thing.
the episode, as everyone's like gathering around, and the one kid walks in, I'm Ethan, and I'm like,
Oh, Ethan,
I mean,
Ethan
get a
is
better
great.
name, dude.
But we're
Get a
like
Star
counting.
Wars name.
AJ and I are like
We'll talk
counting
about
all the
bad Star Wars
Jedi, and
names
we're
in
just
these.
like, oh, this is 6 people. So who's the ninth Jedi? It's been half the episode.
you know who the
What-
10th
what-
Jedi is, though.
Are you gonna? Oh,
There he is.
The
Nice,
Scruffy
baby.
of this universe. He's just like,
Uh,
oh,
He's so good.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
T-Bot. I love T-Bot.
This is the one that I felt was the strongest and my favorite
Same.
because it was the most separated from any era. I saw no connection. You could argue it's like post 9. You could argue it's like way past like millennia after. But that's the thing I love about it is that it's just so ambiguous as to where this could be, and it just sets it apart. And like the lightsabers, I was like losing my mind over that. I'm like, wait, hold up, what are you doing? That would be
my gosh,
clever
so
concept.
cool if they did that.
Yeah,
Very
their
clever
concept of
concept.
the lightsabers and this one were just really, really cool. Matt, go ahead.
No, I'm just, this was an idea that carried over from, back in the day when the idea was floated around that whoever holds the lightsaber, the color reflects their force sensitivity or their,
I really like
behavioral
that.
patterns or whatever. I really love that idea. And I really love the main character starting off with a clear lightsaber and then gaining her like lightsaber color over the course of the episode was so good to reflect like her, like growing in the force and becoming more strong, like more strong. But it's
Stronger.
just stronger is the word. But everything about this episode blew me away. The music is phenomenal. Do you know who did the music?
Good.
I don't offhand.
I forget.
I have to they have to release like an official soundtrack for this if they haven't already.
They must.
They have to,
I
because
would see it on the horizon.
This episode in general, I had this song stuck in my head all day. I've been hearing it like nonstop in my head. It's just so
Are you talking about like
good.
Kara's theme, which is very
Kara's
similar
theme
to
in general.
Very
Rey's
similar to
theme?
Rey's theme.
which has heavy Rey motifs in
Yeah.
it, like incredibly heavy motifs. And Jack's right. They say it takes place after episode 9, but it's funny. I actually got into a discussion online with somebody about the Ninth Jedi, and it was a discussion. It was not an argument. But I got into a discussion with somebody about episode 9, and we were trying to parse out like when after episode 9 it takes place. And the only quote we could really find from the creators was, he was looking at where is the galaxy post episode 9. I want to kind of explore where I think the galaxy is going after the movies are over. Which doesn't really give us like a good indication.
That kind of makes sense.
I've kind of changed my views. I originally thought it takes place like thousands and thousands of years after episode 9, but now I'm more leaning towards like maybe it takes place right after episode 9 or like super close where, if they were to integrate this into canon or create a story that's similar to it, Rey and friends could theoretically meet up with this cast of characters
I love the
do
idea of
stuff with
Sith
them.
acolytes.
Well, yeah, and
that's really
because
cool.
that was
Yeah,
the thing.
like,
They weren't Sith; they were Sith acolytes. So they got around that,
Yeah.
pretty easily.
What a reveal. Also,
What a-
Space
what a
Poncho,
twist.
there's been like a
Oh, that's so
handful of
great.
them. I love how in these episodes we have also gotten a very small handful of space ponchos, and you just gotta love that
Oh,
trend.
the
But
ponchos in
Ethan
these are
there has a
crazy.
poncho.
Yeah, they're all like layered and whatnot, and
I know.
Quality
with
poncho.
hoods. Crazy.
I love the small guy. I wish
he
the
was
small
so
guy
cool.
wasn't a bad
He kind
guy.
of looked like he kind of looked like the Lorax. Honestly,
Evil,
that's what I
evil
thought of him.
Lorax Yoda.
Just like the big
Yeah.
mustache.
Yeah, he did.
I
He
said,
That's a
did.
perfect way to put it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I just love the saber forge. The forgeman is like, well, I'm just a simple forgeman here.
Yeah,
just
right.
forge sabers. It's not
100
another
years,
saber
I like
forge
that.
if 9 miles.
No, that was
Yeah,
It
I
is-
agree with Chad. I'd say like or no, was it Brent? I agree with Brent. It felt like a century or so after.
Yeah, I was gonna
the
say
fact
50 to
because
100 years. Yeah.
things
I can see
seemed
that.
much more lost than even the 20 years post Order 66.
See, Ethan
idea
says
is-
something. He says a line when he's holding the lightsaber. He says, "These haven't been seen since like before I was born,"
Yeah,
which makes me think maybe it's a little more recent because he's even before I was born.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
he looks pretty young, like probably in his 20s or something or whatever. So I don't know. I flip flop between it being like a long way off, or then also just like a generation or two away from being
Well,
separated.
I know at least from this is pretty light in terms of like a foundation, but like there was a comic in the early beginnings of the Marvel Star Wars run where Luke lost his lightsaber and ran afoul of a hut and had to deal with a droid who had like all the lightsabers. Like his collection would have made Grievous blush.
Oh, no.
And so like there seemed to still be a fair few kicking around if that's as canon as anything else.
Yeah.
True.
So I feel like it would take some time, more than 20 years or so for those to really lose circulation and be all destroyed.
AJ will tell you that I've always said that, post episode 9, I would love for them to just do like a time jump, like a way in the future time jump.
Kind of like
and
that
if-
comic series. What's that called?
Was that Legacy you're talking about? Because that was only
think it's
like
Legacy.
That's like 100 years after, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
like do the old Republic time jump,
Yeah.
but like for the future. So we go
That would
like
be really cool.
2,000, 3,000 years into the future rather than just,
Oof. It's a
yeah,
long
I'd
time.
love to see like where the galaxy is.
And then they can go back
post
and
the
show the in
Skywalker-
between.
Skywalkers. Yeah, well,
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know you want to see
Some
the
of the
image. I do
dots.
too. I
Yeah,
would be lying if I
course.
said I didn't want to see the build up to that, obviously. But yeah, I
Right.
would love to see. And the Ninth Jedi kind of fits that, I think, pretty well.
I could see that.
I
I'd
want
love
to
that.
go back really quick and talk about the whole mining operation on this planet
Ooh,
of
that
this
was
like
great.
skyhook
The
system, just like
trebuchet
launching up and
grappling
then
hooks.
yanking it
That
down,
was
and
sky
then
hooks.
such a- that whole
was
planet
just so
was
cool.
like such a great setting for Star
Yeah.
Wars. Just like a really good Star Wars setting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
it felt like Tatooine in a way, like that same like unconventional farming method.
Yeah, it was that, but it was like also like Takodana because it had like the water with like all the trees and whatnot, and it was just very cool.
Water and trees.
yeah.
We don't
She
know any
had
planets with
water
those.
and trees. What else do you need? And
Why does it have those?
Kara has her like little droid companion. I think his name was V5, but he was like a little like floaty, like kind of looked like
Wasn't
Eve
it
from
4-8?
Wally.
Or
Might have been
Yeah.
4.
8-4-8, something like that. But I think it was like
Sure.
She
Little
says,
yellow
like-
with little wings, and
Yeah,
he was
He was cute.
adorable and,
He's my
he was
and
great.
great companion. And then of course we get the teapot droid or the tea kettle
Oh,
droid,
T-Bot.
who's
T-Bot's the
some
best.
steam powered droid, and I
There
love
he
how
is.
there's
Nice
just like a
moves.
line of them, and like she's just like, you gotta give us a ride, and he's just like, okay, well I guess let's go,
Just
and then
chilling next to his
slow walk
dead
over.
brothers.
Between T-Droid and the Aerial Temple, I was getting heavy Castle in the Sky vibes, and
Ooh.
Definitely.
I do want to go
Definitely.
back and rewatch that now because I haven't seen that since I was a little kid.
Like steampunk droid.
Yeah.
100%.
So
Like
good.
There's just so many different vibes like in this one like alone, and it was just very very cool. And then like I don't think we loaded an image in of it, but the best shot of the entire thing was the thing turning over, and
Yeah.
it's a lightsaber.
That was really cool.
That's
I
so
loved
good.
that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like half
that was-
turning, and I'm like, lightsaber, lightsaber, and then it made the noise
Lightsaber.
in case you didn't get it.
and just to drive that home for you.
Right.
Yeah,
The other AJ, the other part that you were really interested in was we had, as everyone's like gathering in the beginning, the big droid walking around like telling
Ooh.
everyone,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna
Right.
wait for everybody, and then the reveal that
Yeah.
that's actually
The
Matt-
Margrave.
And the whole
Yeah, the
time, you,
Margrave.
yeah.
you think he's a villain, obviously, and then
He-
he's
yeah.
because he had
Yeah.
red eyes and
Yeah.
whatnot. So
Because he
that
looks
was-
evil.
He does.
And
Yeah.
like people are like, oh, his appearance like throws people off, but it's like, then why not change your? Why not change your mask, dude, so you don't look like Darth Vader?
Makes the story cooler.
Bad guy, good guy, actually a good guy.
Here's a book, here's a
that his,
cover.
like-
I'm gonna judge it.
Yeah, I thought his face would have been like messed up, and that's why like people are afraid of him. But then they slice his mask off, and he's just like, I got like a little scar on my eye.
He looks pretty chill, yeah.
He
Kind of like
chill.
a Witcher vibe going, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
and
a little
apparently the title Margrave has been used before. So it wasn't an invention for this, which is I think is kind of funny. But like Margrave has been like a title in Star Wars for like other things in canon.
Something really cool to see as well was just so many lightsabers in like a fight like that in animation. Because like the only time we really like see like lightsaber fighting like that, I guess is like the Geonosis arena in like episode 2, right? If I had to guess, but it's not like an actual like fight of like
and then
that
you look in the background and they're like swinging them like
it's a mess.
Going
Matt,
nuts.
what was your initial reaction to this episode?
Oh, I loved it. Holy crap. There you go. That's exact, dude.
That is
literally exactly that. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was like, holy crap! As soon as it ended and the music like flared up, because the music's awesome.
Yeah,
I was like blown away. Like,
this is just like so cool, like with like the whole Kyber crystal mythos, like to go like back to that of what the properties of them are and how each of these episodes is kind of interpreted differently. And I loved everything about like this one, in which based on the user it changes immediately, which but I thought it was really cool, and it worked
really
for this. It worked
Honestly,
so well.
It makes more sense than I mean, like you bond with a crystal and then it changes to the color, which is what the new canon does. But and like it kind of miss the old days some days, but then again, video games have warped my perspective. KOTOR especially. Oh, I found a red crystal.
Right, that's what I always think of.
Oops, I'm bad.
But just being able to see how like the user itself like has that effect. Like the Margrave's lightsaber had this like saber hilt thing on it that just instantly popped as soon as he grabbed it, and it was just so cool. Like using the color to tell the story was so great, because like none of them reached for that lightsaber when the droid presented it. Only Ethan
and it turned blue. And watching that a second time, it was like, oh wow, they're all hesitant to touch the lightsaber because they know it'll turn red. But Ethan, grabs it and it turns blue, and so your suspicions are thrown off for the time.
They all share a look. It's really
purple guy saber. Like, wait a minute, no, hey, dude, chill. We know you're good. And he's like, oh right, okay, my bad. What am I doing?
I was confused by that.
He was feeding off of the darkness and the people around.
Oh, my
the
bad.
other guys. Yeah.
So and that can happen. We've had that happen before. I think.
Yeah, but so we're left with these 4 Jedi at the end, and it's like, what's happening? What's their story gonna be? Where are they gonna go?
Yeah, for real. I want
the guy in the behind the scenes who the creator for this one specifically said it's up to the fans because we left it open, to continue it. And since the 9th Jedi has been catching on like crazy, like everybody's been talking about it. I have no doubt.
Comic runs for all of them.
I love that. A comic run, a season 2,
more shorts and comics.
Yeah.
Everything.
Both flesh it out. Yeah.
More anything, more everything. All right. Seinfeld reference.
Great.
What's the next one?
The next one is TOB1.
All right. I should probably not that I hate TOB1 or anything, but I got to duck out because we're getting to that time. Pizza night. Sorry guys.
Right.
Pizza night.
That's milk.
Pizza time.
That's Matt when his friends come over for pizza. So, see you, Matt.
All right. See you guys. I wish I could talk about this one, but this one's great. Bye guys.
Bye, Matt.
See you, Matt. There he goes.
At the bottom, all to myself.
There you go.
TOB1.
Yeah, so TOB1. Here. Should we try this instead?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
That did not work.
I really like TOB1. It was
it was the cutest, that's for sure. AJ keeps having microphone problems. But this one was just like so adorable. Like immediately after my initial reaction was like, oh, this was just a little Pinocchio story, and it was adorable. But like it was something like even AJ.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, because you were like, what?
Okay.
My mic
hot.
got unplugged again. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But I loved TOB1, and I love how at the end the Jedi Master calls him Toby, because like that was like it was kind of like his consciousness was like within TOB1 the entire time. And Toby also wears a poncho at one point in this episode, so not that I was
true. It was like I was getting heavy Astro Boy vibes, and in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
Like again, like they all reminded me of something, and like I'm gonna go on a huge binge of all the different things that I'm reminded of to reacquaint with them, because it's just so nice to see that reminiscent, even though they're different studios. And Toby like had such a great life to him, like even in the beginning, and he reminded me a lot, like their relationship reminded me a lot of Mega Man, because we have like a super powered boy with like all these different like kind of like acrobatic abilities, and then you have an old man with a beard who's like his mentor character.
I loved him. And no arms.
I love his daydream.
Cool concept
was so cool, like the animation, just the way it flourished from like it just like
Yeah.
started small and just immediately like in 5 seconds he's on a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, they definitely ran with the line that Yoda says in episode 2. That's the mind of a child is the most powerful, or something like that. When
yeah.
Truly wonderful.
yeah, because like Obi-Wan and Yoda together can't piece together that Kamino isn't there, and let's go to the center of gravity. Oh, there you go.
One of my favorite things, like,
but I feel like they literally took that line and they're like, you know what, let's just apply this to a kid, because like their imagination can run wild, and it's very clear that Toby has huge dreams.
Right. And awesome. I mean, my favorite thing showing his dreams is the drawings on the walls and whatnot. That always kind of shows like, like Rey in the sequels, in Force Awakens, Rey has her own little crafts that she has that like she can dream. She puts on the helmet, she crafts the rebel doll and whatnot. And then T-Obi-Wan, he has the drawings on the walls of Jedi, and there's even a Grievous looking one. There's an Ahsoka looking one. And that's super cool. And I totally agree with Brent, I think mentioned, going off like in my mind, being human, being like, okay, which one am I so interested in? Which one am I not? T-Obi-Wan was towards the bottom, but it was adorable and I absolutely loved it.
I loved it more the second time, because at first it was late at night and I was just kind of falling off. So I paused it and then I went back and I started it again in the morning, and I was like, oh my God, this is wonderful. Like all the droids, like his little droid fam.
Yes,
they were
so many good little shots of it. Like so many good shots of like just like obviously him just like waking up being like, good morning, here I am ready to start the day, and then he's like, come on everybody, and the droids are just like following him around, and it was just so cute, because and then he had his lowest low when he loses his master, and then he has to come back and he decides to finish everything and try to do what they do, and they do succeed, and it's just so nice that like they have like this clear beginning, middle, and end, and like they could, if they wanted to, like continue it again in the future, and he can have even more adventures. And who would have thought a little droid who wants to be like a Jedi? Like that's just so fun. That's just such a cute concept.
Cool, yeah. What if Pinocchio was a droid?
That's literally what it was. And like in the behind the scenes, they mentioned that how they obviously took influence from the classic Star Wars movies, but then also they were like, oh, we wanted influences from classic Disney movies as well, and you can't get much more classic than Pinocchio. And so they have like your old like Geppetto character, and then you have Pinocchio, and it's just so good.
We gotta go.
So cute.
Gotta go read the Aurebesh.
Yeah. The creator also mentioned that he was like, as a kid, like we're always told don't write on the walls and whatnot. So that was like one thing I really wanted to do, was have like the walls covered in like writing and like whatnot.
I love that.
And just,
such a cool touch.
Show it off. Yeah.
I think this one maybe doesn't get enough credit and deserves a rewatch, because it followed the Ninth Jedi. It followed the Village Bride and the Ninth Jedi, which were heavy hitters. Yeah. People are still thinking about those episodes, and then there's this cute thing. Maybe it doesn't catch them as much, but
it's a lot lighter. It's a lot lighter than everything else, even though there is like death in it, because
the Inquisitor is
like,
scary.
Dies, and the Inquisitor is very scary. But like,
plus like Toby causes it just inadvertently, just goofing around, and it's like that guilt like that can be haunting in a way.
Yeah.
I loved when all the droids like banded together to try to like shock the crap out of him. It was great.
And at the end, he face plants, and they're like, "Are you all right?" He just throws up like the okay thing, and they all start laughing.
They're like, I loved it. It was so cute. Let's switch total gears and talk about the Elder.
Ooh, my second favorite.
One of my favorites.
Talk about heavy hitters. Like,
Time for the duel, in terms
this
of like,
one,
give me more.
This one was spooky. Like
very.
The Elder himself, the old man. Yeah, he was spooky.
This was another one that you could have just shunted right into canon, right in the prequel era, and no one would have batted an eye.
Yeah, you can put this in the prequel era. You can put it in the High Republic. You can put it years later. It would be so cool. Like there's two duos very clearly that I like got the vibes from. So I'm gonna throw the High Republic references in there, but it was Loden and Bell like to a T, the two of them. But that was
Qui-Gon Obi-Wan, yeah.
That wasn't like their inspiration for it, since like that just came out this year. But Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, like that was it. Like this guy was Qui-Gon. I think his name was Taijin.
He sounded like him.
He and Padawan Dan. Love Padawan Dan.
Yeah, Taijin and Dan.
Dan.
You were mad about Ethan. I'm like, Dan?
And Taijin was voiced by David Harbour, so who we all love, and that was
it's great just hearing like a poor Hopper going, Dan.
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 There it is. I loved it though. Like it's so rare that we see like a healthy Jedi Padawan or Master and Padawan relationship, because we have like Obi-Wan and Anakin, and that's just insane. They get the job done, but it's insane. And it's I loved it with this episode, because you see the whole building of their relationship of this master is very experienced, and he's been a lot of places in the Outer Rim. And the Padawan just wants to like see the galaxy, which is big dreams, which is what you're always going to have as Padawan. And then just like this planet, and it's spooky.
Spooky. And this is the one that I wasn't sure I was gonna like as much, because the Elder's eyes were just, and like his design was so off-putting that I didn't know if I'd really want to see him in action. And when he shows up, just instantly unsettled.
See like the gross yellow teeth, and then just the actual like demon eyes, and it's like, whoo, no,
oh my god,
not about that.
No thanks. And he has such a like, when he moves, it's like he comes at you so fast that you don't even have time to respond. Like the Padawan is lucky he survives the first bout, and
I don't know how he
survives the second.
I don't know how he survived.
I don't know how
Sliced
he survived.
in the stomach.
Yeah, like, I was like, no, he's dead.
Like I thought for sure. Like at one point.
Or
Qui-Gon's just like, am I a joke to you?
Exactly. Qui-Gon's like, no one saved me.
Yeah. But then you think about it, the way that the Elder is killed though is pretty much like that entire form is like Qui-Gon's like setup and whatnot, and it's like
that's a sorry.
You just remembering that?
Well, no. I definitely wanted to talk about that, because I think it might be Shicho. I'm probably wrong, because I barely know anything about
the
lightsaber
names,
forms.
But
there's a form of lightsaber combat that actually involves the ignition and deignition of a lightsaber, and it was just so great to see. He takes a second too long, but that's anime for you. But I just love that
added to it, extra, extra drama.
Oh, right in the heart, goddamn.
But yeah, the fact he disintegrated, that was like
the leveler.
Yeah,
the leveler. No,
the leveler. What happened?
It felt. I liked that his lesson wasn't like, I didn't beat him. No, time did. Like,
I loved that, and that that paid notice to like paid tribute to like Palpatine. He couldn't beat time either. He tried. He got the closest as anyone. Still couldn't beat time. And I think that's just the coolest thing. Like you can be so powerful, but hey, you're gonna die one day. You can't beat old age.
Yeah.
So. And there was the vibe of the Riddle of the Sphinx, in that you had the young, the like kind of in their prime, and then the old, and just getting to see like they're watching everything shift, and like now who was the old is now gone, and then who was in their prime is going to become old, and who was young will be able to enter their own prime.
There were so many lessons packed into this one. This one I think was the most impactful lesson wise. If you really wanted to see like a really good Jedi teachings, like this was a very, very clear representation of that, and it was very clearly illustrated, and they did an amazing job. This was also another incredible like one that was incredibly illustrated one. Like visually, this was another stunning one, and like the character designs, obviously of the Elder, were terrifying, but like everyone else as well, they were the kids were very cute, and then like the main characters just had a very like distinct design as well, and like it's just very, very cool to see.
Yeah,
I loved his ship, the old man's ship. It kind of looked like it looked like that ship on Batu, which we've never seen in person, but
it's pretty cool.
It looked like that. And I love how they don't know if the guy's bad yet or not. They're like, oh, we're checking him out in the mountain. His ship's literally black with red outline. It's
that's
like, come on,
guy. That's a really bad guy. Really bad. What movie? No, I'm kidding.
Get Smart. Obviously,
I'm panicking. I haven't seen that forever. That's
so
going
good.
on the list.
Jack? Why do you think he blew up the ship?
He's either got something very important or dangerous on there that he didn't want anyone else having, or he's just a spiteful bastard. And just it's like
maybe both.
Screw it. Like Predator, just like go for broke.
Yeah, why not?
Slimy little Sleemo. That's what he was.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, this one was incredible though, and it's too bad that Matt couldn't talk about it with
A lot
us.
of great lessons.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh yeah,
I
bet he loved this one.
His lesson was pizza over friends. So remember that, everyone. Although he was getting pizza with his other friends. So.
Well, I'm just insulted now. No, I'm kidding. He does this every time.
This one,
let's see.
My only criticism with this one was I like that it also had that kind of like muted tone with the lightsabers taking focus in terms of color, but no white core. I got salty about that. And it's silly. I mean, I can't remember if the Jedis had a white core or not, but I remember the Elder specifically did not, and it just kind of looked funky. It just doesn't feel like it has the same cut without that white hot middle to it.
Well, he had like the dagger one, so maybe that was why. But now that you bring up the lightsabers,
they were cool though.
Lightsabers in this.
The rain hitting the sabers was just like that old Anakin versus Ventress in the original Clone Wars, the 2D Clone Wars, when they're fighting in the rain. And yeah, I was gonna go for it, but I always mispronounce it. When the rain's hitting the lightsaber and it steams, that's such a cool look.
Oh yeah, like in same thing in episode 2 in Camino, like just like hearing that sound.
Yeah. And I guess we even see it in a little bit of Rise of Skywalker with the waves and that. But yeah, it's always cool to see water hit a lightsaber and see what it does.
I loved like the designs of his like 2 dagger lightsabers as well though, because like or the smaller Shoto blades, because like they had like this slight like cross guard like as well, which was also like red.
Yeah.
Like, whoa there, sir. It's a little fancy. It was still pretty cool. And we just had normal lightsabers,
Steamy lightsabers.
Steamy lightsabers. Did he have one in there?
So the Elder was beautiful.
Here they are.
There they are.
Them boys.
Them boys. I love them. The ship as well.
Yeah, they definitely those costumes, not costumes. Those robes are definitely prequel era. End of Republic era. And I just love seeing it because I love seeing the different color variations that you get whenever you see 2 Jedi from that era. Like most of the time it's pretty muted, but can you pull that up again?
Hang on.
One of them had like a nice light gray. It could be.
Dan has a really cool one.
Yeah, Dan's was like brown and white. And
this reminded me of Mace Windu's, but I like that his master, whose name is escaping me, had like kind of like that white with the tan with the dark gray. Obi. I'm panicking,
just
but entertaining.
Can
you tell I haven't actually built a traditional Jedi yet?
Jack, say the word and I'll give you a hand.
Our friend Alex in the I know he's probably not listening to this, but he should do a cosplay of that. He kind of looks like that.
He's working on Qui-Gon.
So this guy essentially was Qui-Gon. So that checks out.
That works.
Steamy lightsabers. Let's move to the next one.
Oh, yeah.
So the next one was episode 9, Lop and Ocho, which was honestly going into it not really one I was really anticipating like that much for, but this is also one that really took me by surprise and was just really, really cool and could easily slide in to canon if they wanted to.
Yeah, this was very sequel heavy as well, sequel inspirational as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
you had like the found family vibe with Ocho, and I agree, Jamie. Like this is also one that I wasn't really that interested in. I guess it was the Jackson style Space Bunny, but I think
in which she is. She's the same species. Like in the behind the scenes, they said that, and then the creators saw that like Jackson is like really, really tall, and they're like, well, we don't want like a really tall rabbit. We want like a small, cute rabbit. So she's like a smaller like version of the same species.
It made the species feel less ridiculous to me finally, and because like it's like if we can have Chewie, we can have this, and just the relationship that she and Lop had. It was so sad to see how it deteriorates over the years, because she was the one who kind of like was like, hey, no, like let's have her become part of the family. Like she wanted to adopt her right away, and then come years later the tables flip and she thinks she knows better and she's willing to give up her entire family for it.
Well, yeah, she's willing to give up the entire family because I think at the end of the day she thinks that Lop, she believes that the Empire will help them in the long run, but she's willing to do anything in order to get there. And it's usually that kind of thing. When you have this much power, you are blind to the fact that it will destroy everything in the path whenever you actually reach your end goal sometimes. So Lop was the human, and Ocho was the rabbit, correct? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Definitely.
Yeah.
I had to use flashcards.
I got confused because Lop sounds like hop, and I'm like, oh, Lop, hop.
No.
That's fair.
No.
Yeah.
But
I love how she also had a droid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They all have their own little sidekick droids.
Yeah.
I love the dynamic between the sisters as well. It was very, they weren't siblings, but what I'm referring to is they were very Kylo and Rey. How they were, I don't know. I mean, Ben Solo was raised by kind of the same people that Rey was eventually sort of adopted and raised by, in a way. But when they were dueling in that hangar or whatever that was, it reminded me of that a lot. And the line that struck me the most was inheritance. What is it? Inheritance isn't defined by blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was beautiful because they're referring to the lightsaber. And that's very familiar from something we know about in the sequels. But
it totally had that "it belongs to me" moment in
exactly.
Force Awakens.
Exactly. And then it ended on, this was one of the two, and the next one after this, episode 9 or short 9, whatever you want to call it. They both ended on like sad notes, like cliffhangers. That was
sad
that wasn't
cliffhangers.
Happy. Yeah, which is rare in Star Wars. So.
We also had to suspend a lot of belief for all the injuries sustained, like across all these episodes, because like poor Lop literally gets a like giant like Zorro like X to the chest, and she's fine.
Yeah,
it's not how that works. But
Dan got his organs just cauterized, and
like what?
Not a problem.
She did some interesting stuff at one point. When she decides to turn to the Empire, she cuts off her braid, which is hugely symbolic. But then she also like bites her finger and gives herself some killer red eyeliner, which was interesting.
Right, that was
they make that. You could buy that at the store.
It's called you bite your finger hard enough, it's gonna bleed a lot. Which if you that doesn't work like that. But
5 credits, you're good for a month.
There you go. Maybe longer.
I thought it was really interesting that she had to have like that full transformation like in that moment.
Yeah, and like she had like a Krennic style like white robe and white uniform that was really sick.
Yeah, that was pretty much exactly Krennic's uniform, but I'm pretty sure she was rocking some heels as well because most of them were.
the poor dad. She didn't even go for the kill shot. She went to just I'll cut your other ie out, and he's still alive, I guess.
So brutal.
Now we just can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's probably blind people like, hey. But there is something sad to not being able to see your children ever again.
Yeah. This episode really moved because like we have like the full like little like beginning like flashback of how they met, and then it's whatever like the 8 years later, and you see more of an imperial occupation across the planet. And then once like Lop decides to turn, it's unclear how long that time is like in between of like Lop is gone and we're here now, and then Ocho is gifted the sword. Because it seems like overnight Lop literally was like, here I am, I'm a ranking like officer and whatnot. It's just like how much time passed here. But like other than that, like I loved this episode, like looking back on it, and it really wasn't something that I thought I was going to, but this was one that like the design of the world kind of like really won me over, because this seems so Star Wars, like of kind of like a city that kind of like looks like garbage, but then the Empire takes it over, makes it look like more garbage, and then they're just gonna pillage all the resources.
Very Corellia.
Yeah, it was very Corellia, but there was a lot more like green to it. So
yeah.
Not for long though, because they're gonna pillage those resources.
Yeah, unfortunately, unless they do something about it.
No.
Yeah, this definitely built heavily on like the Japanese values of family, and the respect you should have for your elders, and passing on the family legacy, and how important it is to be the one who's in lack of a better word, burdened with the responsibility of passing that on, and to not be that, even though you think you're fighting for your family, is got to be pretty heartbreaking for Lop. It was definitely like one that the story captivated me more than anything else in it that it had to offer. It was gorgeous too. The animation was just beautiful, like bright, and it really fit the style with having Osho as a character in it, because like it wouldn't work if it had the same muted tones that the Elder had. You know, like it would feel off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to the last one then. So episode 9, Akikiri. So this one, first time I watched it, I wasn't a big fan. And like looking back on it, I'm a little bit more into it. Like after watching the behind the scenes and learning more of their full like motivations behind it. But what do you guys think of it?
I think it had a slow build for sure. I loved the ending, but I think it once again to go about what was the one I said earlier that I think it was T.O.B. one had a bit of a disadvantage because it came after a great one. I think this one had a disadvantage because it was at the end, and maybe if people watched it by now, maybe they rushed through it. But I need to rewatch this one.
Something big for the last one, kind of thing.
Yeah. So
yeah, the pacing and the order of things were really weird.
Yeah.
Well, they're from different studios. They weren't supposed to like gel with each other.
No, it's okay. It's just something that I noticed after seeing it all, and I think it speaks to this point.
Right.
I think that overall, though, like the whole goal of it was to show someone who is battling the dark side, though, and trying to overcome it themselves by like revisiting someone from their past and then having to confront that and then failing at that, or succeeding and then failing at it. I think that was just like the overall like bit of it, and so. I don't know. This one just I couldn't like connect with as much. Like I didn't like enjoy it like as much like style wise, but I still thought it was like really cool to see all of the Kurosawa vibes in it because this one was like really big, like banking on those visuals with their entire like journey back to the palace and whatnot. And
the journey was fun.
Very, very cool. The journey was a lot of fun.
I love the 2 sidekick guys. One of them was voiced by George Takei, right?
Yeah.
And that was they were fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They were my favorite part. The episode was definitely like, I love them all. So I'm not saying this is in a bad way, but like if I had to pick a least favorite, I think it would probably be this one. And the only reason I would say that is the animation style. And that's just a personal choice. I'm not knocking it because there are just certain things when it comes to animation specifically, you have to consider, is this style meshing with you? And some shows you may miss out on because you can't mesh with it. Like I missed out on Bob's Burgers for years because I hated their chinless faces. And eventually I finally embraced it. And it's so funny. And so like I realized that, you know, like I found my way around it. And this, I had to do the same thing because I think the story is really compelling. And again, like you said, Jamie, just the Kurosawa vibes, those 2 guys were just so funny to watch. And I just loved their whole style, like their banter and everything. And like they each have a role. To judge me by my size, do you? No, it was great. There's the music, you know, this was the one that struck me the most music wise. Like, the heavy drum beats at the end during the final duel there reminded me a lot of like the best fights of Avatar, The Last Airbender.
One thing that they pointed out in the behind the scenes was the final duel. This one was really heavily inspired by Kylo and Luke's duel on Crate of like Kylo like kind of like spinning and trying to like knock him down, and then Luke doing the spin around. Like their duel was kind of really heavily inspired by that. There's a good shot of they show the Crate duel with that immediately after, and it's very cool.
I'll have to look at that.
I
so
watch all the extras.
Just like seeing like that, like just like pumps it like up for me because I was like, oh yeah, this is going somewhere. But like I agree. Like this one is kind of like it kind of just seemed like a little bit of like a rehash of like Anakin's story towards like the end of like I can help you. I can save her. And then you have to give everything to the dark side essentially. And so he does that, and then he has to leave her behind. But he at least does like, you know, succeed in like reviving her. So it does like leave that open-ended tale of he's still gonna be out there and she will still be out there as well. So maybe he could come back.
Palpatine's like
character though.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Just goes for it.
We've never seen Force healing. So for Anakin, it just didn't work because Palpatine lied, maybe, and that wasn't.
I don't think Palpatine knew how to do it.
Didn't know.
And then
he didn't know.
For Rey and Ben, it works. Ben dies, so Rey's on her own. And then for this, it works, but he still is evil. So it's like he sold his soul to the devil. That's kind of the thing, right? And she is just stuck somewhere. So very cool.
That's interesting that you like worded that way because like him like having him march away like that, literally into the doors of like
going to hell. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
True. I liked that. To me, it feels like when a Sith or a Dark Force user is trying to heal someone, they're probably draining from somewhere else. Like my headcanon, and I understand that it's not actually the truth, is that Palpatine was draining Padme's life force to save Anakin.
Could be true.
I'm just saying the editing and the music does support that, even if John Williams wasn't told specifically to do that. Happy coincidences.
Hey, he's
anyway,
a magician.
Happy little accident.
Versus with light side users where they are giving their force. And honestly, like people complain about like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I think that's why Qui-Gon said it's too late. It's too late. Like, because he's like, you can't, I'm way too far gone. You'll kill yourself if you try to heal me, even though I don't think he knew about that. So it's like, anyway, that's a total sidebar. I'm sorry.
I think that's why it was really cool that they had that element within this short, though, because this is the only short to actually use any sort of aspect of force healing, which is interesting since we've like seen that come about a lot recently in canon Star Wars media. And so it was cool to see like another interpretation of it, at least, of let's see what happens if this happens. And so you could argue that this is like our Anakin what if.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that, but you know,
this is essentially our like what if series. It's just through the eyes of different anime studios, and it's been so cool to see. Like I can't say it enough, obviously, because I just keep saying it's just so cool. It's so cool. It just looks so cool.
Well, it's just nice to be loose with the canon for once and to not be wrapped up in it, and to just have a crazy story or two, and then have the others that are just kind of using that as inspiration, a jumping off point for something that is its own thing.
And then really like I think Matt said it at the beginning, like if these can be inspirations for future stories, that's awesome, because everything's still drawing from a lot of older inspirations. So if they can have newer ones to help pave the way forward, that could be cool.
There's always controversy in legends.
Yeah.
How many times do we need to say it?
That is true.
People always get uppity when they start to mess with lightsabers. Like when Darth Maul first had a double bladed, people were like, what? And then
the cross guard. What?
Yeah, and then the cross guard again. Definitely it was Tim Allen watching it.
No, you're Tim Allen.
But so like people always get uppity. I'm always like, tell me more. I want keep messing with it. Like that.
It's fun.
My favorite parts were like the umbrella, like seeing that just skewer someone and then open up. I'm like, oh
yeah. Just keep throwing that stuff out there. See what sticks and see like what actually like makes the most sense. Like see what the reactions are and like just play with it. And like it's supposed to be fun. And like I think that's the coolest part about all of this is George Lucas was inspired by Kurosawa's films to like create everything about the Jedi, and then in turn created Star Wars. And then we have all these creators taking that back and be like, all right, cool. So here's what we're gonna do for you. And it's been amazing to see like these stories in this complete turnaround of we were inspired by you, you were inspired by us, and we're just gonna keep making from it. And you're gonna keep getting these creators from around the world who are just inspired by this. And like knowing that Star Wars has sparked this much creativity is the best part of all of this, which is why they made this series.
Good vibes.
Good
always
vibes always. Yes.
And it's it reminds me of a lot of like the comic series that used to come out like in the 90s, where just like you just get these really weird stories that would go into really bonkers territory. Like a lot of the Old Republic stuff would just get really weird and dark, and just seeing that put to screen in this way, and just seeing this reinterpretation is just I'm excited to see, like as we've said, what's going to be inspired by this in the main canon, because there's just so much to take. And I, for one, want weirder and interesting lightsabers, and give me those color changing lightsabers. That's so cool.
That was really cool. I like that. But
it'll be super interesting to see like how they actually like interpret it. Like even with like the color changing like lightsabers, like in that moment, they could argue. They could argue here. All those lightsabers were made by the same guy, right? We don't know where he got those crystals, so maybe it was something he did to the crystals, right? I'm just spitballing here.
No. It's definitely
like
I'm honestly halfway between that's how it works in this canon, or this saber forge smith like actually did something to it to make it that way, because they do talk about it in the exposition, but they don't really talk about the forge smith very much.
He was such a cool character too, like looking back on it. He's still out there because the Sith acolytes were to say, hey, we took him off world, we're not telling you where. Like he's still out there, and so like I'd like to like see more like from him, because he also showed a little bit of like force sensitivity, like deflecting a blaster bolt and then getting knocked out.
Oh, that's so cool.
So like
I think to to maybe round up to finish up here, Hannah asked favorite character from all of them, so that could be fun.
Ooh.
You gotta
I
pick
wrote it
one.
down earlier.
I'm gonna go with
Running
David.
Gonfred.
I'm gonna go with David Harper. What was his name again?
Uh,
Tajin.
Tajin. I'm going with
I
Tajin. He
believe.
was sweet.
He was
I
really
love
cool.
Tajin. Yeah.
My favorite character overall. I'd probably have to. Oh God, I wrote it down. Hang on, I need to look it up now.
T-Obi-Wan?
I love T-Obi-Wan.
Kara?
Although
Kara. Kara was my favorite. She just had such like Luke Skywalker vibes, getting on her speeder and just zooming off. It's Luke and Ray, really.
Very Ray vibes,
Yeah,
definitely Ray vibes.
Just like I want to see more of her adventure because like it was all centered around her and Ethan in a little way, but really more Kara, and just seeing her come into her own. And I think we got even like I can't remember, but I think we got the Force theme a little bit motifed when she finally popped color.
I think that for me, my favorite character was probably Ronan from The Duel, because that's just so interesting.
That was my second choice.
It's just like going into it, going into it, like all the publicity was he had a red lightsaber, but none of us like put two and two together. Like, oh, he's gonna be a Sith. Like all of us are sitting here like so surprised when he has this red lightsaber, just like, wait, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And then it's like, well, yeah, we were totally expecting this. And so like finding a character that may have been a Sith in the past, or he's doing something differently, but he's collecting crystals. Oh, what's going on with that? That's just like so intriguing to me, and I just want to know more about that. And he was, even though he barely said anything, he was very, very expressive, and I loved him as a character. And so I'm really, really excited for like that book to come out. So now I need to wait like another month. Although I do believe that there are like 5 chapters coming out next week. Del Rey Star Wars tweeted about that they're gonna like release some early content for that, but
I forgot my favorite character.
Who?
Droid.
The boy! How could we?
I'm
on break.
I love how literally like they're fighting and he just goes, nice moves. Like that is an actual line from this episode. Like
all I gotta say is if
it's the kid at the computer doing the
yeah
it was.
If 3PO knew that he could be having oil through a teacup, he would be pitching such a fit.
Oh my
he would have been doing it while he was in the bath.
Yeah.
Right?
So relaxing. It's perfect.
Oh, this feels like magic.
This was a good time. This was I wish Matt could have stayed, but what are you gonna do?
I've been looking forward to this.
Overall, Visions was so much more than I expected. I mean, like I have like barely watched any like anime in my life, like ever, but like I have always wanted to, and like this really has done what they wanted to do, which is open the door for watching more of it. And I hope that they get to eventually make a season 2. And I gotta go rewatch all of them again. And I'm gonna
get hopeful when you see it say season 1.
I know
we will be not totally concrete confirmed, but I think we'll be doing an HML for this. So
I'd be down for that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be really fun.
HML for HML, wow.
HML, make the shirts.
Wow.
Oh boy.
But I wasn't sure when we were doing it next.
That comes out on October 1st, which I believe is a Friday. So maybe we'll do it over the weekend or the week after. We'll see. But
yeah, maybe Saturday or something.
We'll see what happens. If you haven't already, definitely watch. There's a Lego shorts out there, which are Halloween Star Wars in their Lego themed, and they're fantastic. I have to
watch the Mando one.
That is next week.
There's one of Mandalorian and Grogu, and it is the best characterization of Din Djarin like ever. Like it's perfect. It's so good.
The last episode, I gotta watch it.
It is so good. There's one about the Bad Batch, and it's called the Bad Patch. What is this?
The greatest duel of all time.
Oh my God.
Who do you think won?
Who do you think? Don't play with your food.
Once again.
Jack's like, I can't see. When we actually see each other in person, that's what happens. We play with Grogu and a bunch of lobsters. But that's what happens up in good old Boston. So anyway, this has been a lot of fun.
Can we play the intro for the outro again? Oh, sorry.
Play the intro for the outro?
Yeah, we gotta play it as the outro. It was fun. But I don't have any last thoughts. I'll see you guys next week for Legos.
My thoughts? Legos.
Next Saturday.
Wait, that's next week? Oh, snap.
Okay, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. We'll
update
post
you guys.
We'll let you know.
I'm open.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Holland and Marauders Live. We'll be back soon, and here's our intro as our outro. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh.